everyone, it's Stephanie Ketcher at Remax and Love Living in Kitchener, Waterloo. Today I wanted to give you a little activity to do at home. So this is one of our favorite games, Sequence. We play this game pretty frequently. It's a very quick end of the night game, or you can really get involved and spend the entire night playing this, and it's quite short, so you can play a lot of games, which is really, really fun for it. But this is also a very simple game. So you can see the board here is basically cards on the board, and you can make this game at home. So there's a couple ways that you can make this game. You can obviously take decks of cards, put them out on the board and make the game, and I'll explain that later. Or you can also have the kids draw cards and make a board like this as well. So a couple things about this game. The entire board is 2 decks of cards. So you will need a total of 4 decks of cards to make and play this game. When you make this board, you'll notice on the board, I will take a picture so you can see the way they're laid out if you want to lay them out the way the game is laid out, but I'm pretty sure you could do this any way you want to. It's really a random game once you get started. So when you make the board, all 4 corners are wild. So these are spots that can be used by anybody. And when you make this board, I would make these wilds your jokers. So take your jokers from your deck, put them on the corners, fill in the rest of the boards here, and you will also notice that there is no jacks on the board. The jacks are your wild. So there are 2 different versions of wild. The one-eyed jack removes someone else's piece, and the 2-eyed jack is wild. So you can put that on any one of these cards on the board. When you're making this board, it is a 10 by 10 grid. So you lay your cards out in the 10 by 10 grid. I would make this on a piece of Bristol board or a piece of cardboard, or if you want to get a really sturdy one, piece of wood. So all you need is some old decks of cards if you have them. We happen to have lots of decks of cards kicking around from magic tricks that George does. But make sure you have 2 complete sets to put down on the board without the jacks. You do not put the jacks on the board when you're making it. You only play with the jacks. So once you have the board made, you also need to make sure you have the game pieces. So every person playing will get a different colored game piece. Now obviously we can't all get game pieces easily right now, so maybe you have something in your home you could use instead. Poker chips of all one color, or you could do some cardboard that you color. You could also use pennies or nickels or dimes. This game is good for 3 players. We often play with 2. It works great with 2 people. So you can play it with 3 players, or you can also play it in teams. So sometimes we play with 4 people, 2 teams, and they play together as a team. Basically, the premise of the game is everybody is dealt 6 cards. Every time you play a card, you pick up a new card. So you're dealt 6 cards. You take your card. So for example, my hand here has an 8 of clubs in it. I lay down my 8 of clubs. I find it on the board. And then I take my piece and I put my piece on that 8 of clubs. That is now mine, unless the next player chooses to remove it with one of their one-eyed jacks. So that's how the game is basically played in a round. Everybody is laying down their card, picking up a new one into their hand, and continuing on. You cannot pick up a card someone else put down. Once a card is put down, it's finished, it's been played. The cards do not re-rotate through. If you go through the entire deck and you haven't made a sequence, the game is over. So a sequence is completed by having 5 of your chips in a row, whether vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. And you can use, remember, these special corner pieces. You can use these wilds for anybody. So if I had these 4 here, which is the 10 of diamonds, the queen of diamonds, the king of diamonds, and the ace of diamonds, if I get these 4, I automatically now get this wild. However, the person I'm playing with also wants to use this wild and is trying to beat me to it and maybe working at it on a diagonal. If they get there first, they now claim that wild spot, and I'm out of luck and I don't get a sequence. When you're playing with 2 players, the first to 2 sequences wins, and when you're playing with 3, the first to 1 sequence wins. I'll post some rules down below on this game on how it works, but again, something fun you can work on at home with the kids, or even yourselves if you don't have a fun board game to play and don't want to go out to get one or order one online. This is a very easy game to make yourself and super, super fun. So hopefully that'll help you in some time at home, having a great time with your family and enjoying the time that you have.